Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Em, and welcome to a new reading vlog where I am going to be diving into the Nebula novel finalists for 2025. Can I never say that sentence right? I don't know, it's just the word Nebula. I don't have a problem saying it for the Hugos. I don't know why Nebula throws me off so much. But anyways, here we are. If you are interested in seeing, I did do a reaction video to the Nebula shortlists for this year, and I have done a reading vlog where I read the novellas for this year. However, I am not excited about the novel list. I wasn't super excited. Well, let me take that back. I was a little excited when I did my reaction video because there were so many books I hadn't heard of on these lists. Then I read the novellas and did not have a good time with most of them. I had one 5-star, which was great, and then the rest of them were just fine. So now I am nervous and not really wanting to read all of these, but also I do want to read all of them, but I also don't want to potentially put myself into a reading slump, which is what almost happened with the novellas. I was not in a good place. So instead of committing to reading all 6 of these books, okay, it's really 4 because I've read 2 of them already. We'll talk about that in a minute. But instead of committing to reading them, instead, I am just going to be reading these books until I get bored. That is the premise for this reading vlog. So we'll see how this goes. It could go poorly, or it could go great. Let's think on the bright side. It could go great. Could go great. Quick refresher. These are our 6 books that are finalists this year. I have read 2 of them, as I previously mentioned. I read Someone You Can Build a Nest In, which is like cozy, sapphic horror romance about a monster. Can I remember her name? No. Shesheshin, but I did remember how to pronounce it. It's about a monster named Shesheshin who lives in a cave in like medieval, is it France? It's medieval somewhere. And Shesheshin is this really this glob-like monster who builds herself a shape by eating people or animals or objects, so she can have like a spine and stand upright and a face and like all the things. And she falls in love with Homily, who is a princess in the keep that is near the forest where Shesheshin's cave is. And I thought this was fine. I didn't love it the way I expected to. This really felt like it was an Emily coded book. Like, this should have been a 5-star for me, and I don't really know why it wasn't a 5-star for me, but it wasn't. I know there are people who really love this book. I would go watch their reviews because I think there is a lot to love about this book, and I am eternally bummed that it was like a 3.75 star type book for me. It is doing something different. I do think it's, I don't know that there's another book that I would compare this to. So I think definitely worth checking out if any of the things I've said about this book are buzzwords for you. The other one I have read that was a 5-star, it's gonna be a surprise to absolutely no one, is A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. This is her dark retelling of The Goose Girl. I love The Goose Girl. That's one of my favorite fairy tales from when I was a kid. Says a lot about me in that sentence. And T. Kingfisher really leans into the horror that is in old school Grimm's fairy tales. And this is about Cordelia, whose mother is sorceress, and Cordelia's mom is Bad News Bears, and sets her sights on marrying this really wealthy lord or something similar. But the lord has an older sister named Hester who's like 50 and she's disabled, and she is such a fun character, and she catches on to the sorceress's game like right away and is not having it, but also senses that there's something up with the way the sorceress treats Cordelia, and Cordelia and Hester form this really lovely friendship as they figure out how to save Hester's brother from the sorceress. I love this book. I think this is my perfect blend of the things I love about T. Kingfisher, where it's funny, there's really great characters, but it's also dark and a little bit horrific. That's my favorite combo of T. Kingfisher things. So that leaves 4 books. Rakesfall, which I'm pretty nervous about because I think this is very literary fantasy. And Angela at Literature Science Alliance did not have a good time with this book, so I am nervous about it. And then there is Asunder by Kirsten Hall, which I am super excited about. I can't really remember what it's about, but I am really excited about it. I remember that much. And then I cannot remember what the title is, but you can see it on your screen. It's the one with the tower on it, and it looks like 80s dark fantasy. I'm hoping it's a good time. And then The Book of Love, which is long. It's like 600 pages, and I think it might be more literary fantasy as well. But one of my really, really good friends who used to manage the bookstore that I'm social media manager for, she has it as a staff rec. And a lot of the times, Allie and I agree on books. So I'm really hoping this is an instance where I really like it too. Out of these 4, the ones that I'm most hopeful will be 5 stars or at least like a 4-star is Asunder and The Book of Love, just because Allie liked it. And then Sleeping Worlds Have No Memory. Is that what the like 80s dark fantasy cover is called? I don't know about that one. That one I have no predictions. I'm hoping I like it because I kind of dig the cover. Like the more I look at the cover, the more I like it. So I'm hoping it's a hit. And then Rakesfall, I'm pretty confident is going to be a DNF. But we'll see. So I will update you as I go, and just fingers crossed that I read something good and that this project does not put me into reading slump, basically. I've been trying to figure out when is a good time to update you on this book, or just on the books in general, like as I'm reading through these. And I'm not sure what percentage or page number is correct, like what makes the most sense, especially as I'm going. At first I was like, well, maybe every chapter, but if it's a book I end up sticking with, that will get tedious and make this vlog entirely too long. So I haven't quite figured out what the sweet spot is yet. I meant to update you at the 25% mark for the book I'm reading right now, and then I didn't. So I'm now at 38%, and here's your first update. And I'm gonna be honest, I decided to start with Sleeping Worlds Have No Memory because I was fairly convinced this was gonna be the one that I would DNF. Again, I keep judging these Nebula books by their covers, and maybe I should stop, because so far I am really enjoying this. This is very much a political fantasy. We're set in this kingdom, and our main character is Shay, and Shay is a counselor or advisor. He's a something for the princess. And prior to the book starting, he was told to gas peaceful protesters and refused. And his punishment is that he is being sent to this tower that is being constructed like way, way out in the outskirts of the kingdom, and told to oversee it. And so we have Shay's perspective, and then we have Brielle, who is an engineer who is building this tower, and this tower is being built using technology from this race of people that this kingdom has basically colonized, and they are looked down upon, they are ridiculed, they are denigrated, except when it comes to their tech. So there is a lot of commentary that is very 2025, which is not surprising at all. I think SFF very much is a lens on what is going on politically, culturally from the last couple years, or the most recent previous years, because obviously like it takes a little time to write the book, and the authors are writing and responding to what is happening in the real world, and then you have to edit, and the publishing takes a little while, and then, you know, and then this is a year after it's been published. So, but it definitely is a lens. I think romance, actually, I know romance is the same way, especially historical romance, which I know not a lot of people read, but like historical romance generally is responding to what is going on culturally and politically. Like you can read a romance novel, a historical romance novel, and understand the politics of the year or two preceding the publication of that book. But anyways, I digress. And I've been very interested in what is going on. Now, I'm not as necessarily tracking everything that is going on. I think my main critique right now is that there's too many characters and I'm having a hard time tracking who is who outside of Shay and Brielle. I'm slowly starting to get there, but I'm having a hard time. I was also could not figure out if a character who has passed away already but is in like a lot of flashbacks and a lot of memories, I could not figure out if she was Shay's romantic partner or sister. I should not have to struggle to figure that one out. So, and maybe that's on me because I'm reading this on my Kobo. I have said before, I am a painfully slow reader on my Kobo. Like this book in publication in a physical format is 300 pages and I've been reading it for like a week and a half. Not because I'm not interested and not enjoying it, but because I am such a slow reader on a device. And I think sometimes that really hinders my enjoyment of books. So the fact that I'm still interested after a week and a half at 30% in, that's pretty good so far. I do like the writing. I wish there was a little bit more clarity on some things, but it's easy to read. I'm not struggling just in that I'm reading it in my less than ideal format and I keep reading it before bed, which is also on me, but it's like just after 8:30 in the morning and I have a couple of hours and I'm going to try and make some coffee and I'm going to try and do a push to make it to the 50% mark. But yeah, I definitely picked this because I thought I would DNF it pretty quickly in and then we'd get the ball rolling on this video and have some forward momentum, and not how it turned out. But don't worry, I'm sure there's a DNF for me among these 4 books. Not that I want that. I don't actually want to DNF a book. I'm just saying for this vlog concept and for my sanity, it would be nice to DNF at least one of them. Anyways, I'm gonna go make some more progress. I think I'll try and come back and update. Oh, hi, this one just came out at the 75% mark, maybe, or maybe just when I finish it. I'm interested to find out what's gonna happen with this tower and with this other race of people. They're called the Drakiri. I'm really interested in that. I also have an interview with this author saved from a podcast because I'm really interested to hear. Like, I want to hear about his writing experience. Even if I DNF it, I'm going to listen to that because I need the inspiration. I need the thought process. I need to know what his thoughts were as he was writing this book. I've made a little bit more progress, but I had 2 thoughts that I wanted to come back and say before they flitted out of my pea-sized brain. One, the lover, I hate that word, but that's what fits. The lover and the sister are 2 different characters. They are both named Lena. That is why I got confused, because they have the same name, which was a weird choice. And my other thought is that I think part of the reason I'm struggling, maybe I think my theories from earlier are still valid. I think the medium I'm reading in and then the time of day when I'm tending to pick this up are definitely contributing. But I was reading outside, wide awake, and there are so many time slips in this book. And I don't think they're intentional. It's just instead of helping you travel from point A to point B and like showing the progression of time and what the character is doing throughout that time, it just goes there and doesn't utilize like a page break or anything to show that transference of time. It's just one sentence, your character is here, and then the next sentence, they're somewhere else. It makes it hard to follow, and it happens fairly frequently. Like, my best example is what I just read outside, where a character has died. No, I won't spoil anything, but a character has died, and Shay is with the body and is mourning that death. And then the next sentence is talking to that character's mother at the funeral. There's nothing to indicate that there's passage of time. And so it feels very disorienting because then I feel like, oh, did I zone out? Did I miss something? And I go back and reread and like, oh, nope, we were just here. Now all of a sudden we're here. And there's no acknowledgement that time must have passed unless like I get, to the end and there's like a time travel element, which I do not think that's where this book is going to go. I don't think that's the issue. I think there's just choppy writing happening. I am going to really lock in and attempt to finish this book in the next 2 days. Well, attempt or DNF. Like if I lose interest, I lose interest because that's the concept of this video, is that I get to DNF if I am bored, but I am not bored. Even though there are parts of the writing that are not my favorite, this book is leaning enough into like sci-fi thriller land that I am interested in what is going to happen. And I read a couple of reviews on Storygraph just now, avoiding spoilers, and multiple people were like, there's too many characters. I cannot differentiate the side characters from each other. So I feel a little bit better that it's not just me. It's not just me. I finished Sleeping Worlds Have No Memory, and I know that this is an expansion of novella. I forget what the novella is called, but this has been published before as a novella, and now it's expanded into, I think in the physical, like a paperback, what did I say, 300 pages? So, let's say maybe double in size, depending on how long it is as a novella. And I think I probably would have liked it better as a novella. There felt like there were scenes that we didn't need. I also think that given I was struggling with the passage of time in this book and some choppy writing and having a main character whose memory becomes increasingly less dependable, to have that character all of a sudden interacting heavily with a character who has dementia, I don't know if that was a good choice. I also think, so there's a thing that happens just before the 50% mark with Brielle, and she ends up going somewhere, and the place Brielle goes was so interesting, and I felt like it was so underutilized because every time we went back to Brielle, I was really interested in what was happening to her. There were kind of some horror elements. It was a different environment than the one that we're in with Shay, and it was just so interesting, and I just felt like we didn't spend enough time with Brielle. I would have loved, just in general, more Brielle. I don't think she was utilized enough, and I think she was infinitely more interesting than Shay. And the thing with the lover and the sister having the same name, like, why did we need that? Like, could there have been another way to connect those two characters without it being the same name? Because it did make it really hard sometimes to tell who he was thinking about, or if one of them was in a dream, or he was having a conversation with them in his head. Sometimes it was hard to know which one he was talking to, which one he was referencing. So I think I'm going to give it like a 2.75, maybe a 3, because even though I didn't get bored, like I definitely didn't get bored, even in the parts that I didn't like very much, I was interested in what was happening, but there were just like inconsistencies with the writing, and I didn't love the ending. I didn't love how the author finished things out. And there were definitely things, like multiple things throughout the book that I would go and change if I could. So I don't know where that lands me. I guess so far, since this is a book that is up for an award, and it is the third book now that I have read, if we're comparing it to Sorceress Comes to Call and Someone You Can Build a Nest In, I would probably put it at the lowest spot right now, just out of the 3 that I've now read. I think if we're going for unusual or innovative books, or, you know, books that are doing something a little bit different, I think Someone You Can Build a Nest In definitely fulfills that category. And the writing is better. I think the character work in that is better. Even though, like, it's not a 5-star favorite, I just think that one accomplishes stuff more effectively if we're going for, like, books that are treading new ground, if that makes sense. But then I don't know. Sorceress Comes to Call was like a 5-star book for me, but T. Kingfisher, as much as I love her, I don't think she's doing anything like innovative or super original, which for going for bookish awards, that's what I would assume a book winning an award is, doing something either new, different, unusual, or is doing something really, really well, even if it's not a new concept. So maybe using that definition, Sorceress Comes to Call, like, yeah, it's not doing anything new, but T. Kingfisher does what she does really, really well. So I guess I talked myself back into like a Sorceress Comes to Call being on this list. So yeah, I'm interested to get into the other 3 now and see where those start slotting in. With the 3 I've already read, I think I know what I'm going to pick up next, but I'm not 100% certain. I have to think about it. I do know which one I'm saving for last. It's the one I think I'm going to like the most, because I would really love this video to go out on a high point. So I have 2 that I need to pick from. I couldn't decide where to go next, if I wanted to pick up Rakesfall or if I wanted to pick up the Book of Love. So I sat down with the intention of reading a chapter of each, and much to my surprise, I was really intrigued after the first chapter of like Rakesfall, and I couldn't even get through 2 pages of the Book of Love. Book of Love, I was bored right off the bat. I don't like the writing. I'm not into this. But this one, I am very much intrigued. So I don't know. I think I'm definitely going to keep going with this one. Will I circle back to this one? Like after I finished it, maybe. Also, maybe not. I didn't like the writing. I think that's all there is to it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going with this one. The first chapter was really interesting. We're introduced to this boy and this girl, Annalid and Leverett, and they are childhood friends, and we're introduced to them almost like we are a TV audience that has been following these 2 characters in this TV show and are part of this fandom. And it reminded me a lot of WandaVision, oddly enough. And I don't know, I just thought the writing was really interesting, and the way we're introduced was really gripping my attention. I know this story is about reincarnation, and we're going to be following these 2 characters through multiple lives, which could be fun, could be confusing, probably is going to be confusing. This also is supposed to be like heavily literary science fiction. I also find it really interesting that in the beginning, it looks like big chunks of this book were originally published in magazines or collections, and were published in very different iterations of like time frames from each other. So like chapters 1 through 2 were originally published in the Deadlands in 2021, but then chapter 4 was published in Nightmare in 2020, and then chapter 14 was published in Asian Monsters in 2016. So just all over the place. And I'm very interested to see if all those components being published at different times in different things is able to successfully be woven into like a cohesive story. I have no idea, but I want to find out. So color me surprised. I guess I just don't know my own taste. Maybe I should just not predict which books I'm gonna like, because so far I'm not doing a good job of predicting my own taste. Okay, you're getting this update on my phone because I'm too lazy to go get my camera. And once again, I'm over 50% of the way before I'm updating you. But I'm over 50% of the way, which is so surprising. I will say Rakesfall makes me feel stupid the same way N.K. Jemisin makes me feel stupid during the Broken Earth saga, and the way Tamsin Muir made me feel during Harrow the Ninth. Now, not to say that this is like a derivative of either of those authors. It's just I want you to understand the vibe. If you decide to pick this book up, I am liking it. I am so confused, and I don't even know that I could really explain what's happening in this book, who the characters are. I mean, I know who the characters are, but because of the experimental nature of the writing, and because we are playing with reincarnation, and these characters are getting reincarnated into different lives and then finding each other again, but each life is so different, and they don't even necessarily have the same name. So sometimes figuring out who they are is a challenge. But like I said, like the first couple chapters, we meet them as children. It's being told to us as if we are television viewers. And then we go into the first reincarnation where they're in this city that has been at war for years and years, to the point where these characters as children, their normal is for this war to be existing in the background of their lives. And there's also a ghost element where people die, but their spirits stay and behave as regular people. Like children who are killed and then our ghosts can like grow up and have jobs and go to university, but not every university accepts ghosts. So very interesting. And then we did another reincarnation where the format changed, and instead of it being like a regular, novel structure, it was a very interesting mashup of a screenplay format with a traditional novel format. And now I'm in another reincarnation and I have no idea what's going on at all, but I'm like vibing with the writing, and I'm finding the switches to be very interesting, and the chapters are short, and I don't know, I'm digging it. It's a cool time, I think. I also noticed yesterday, I think it's kind of funny that two of the blurbs on the back are from Ray Naylor and from Premi Mohammed, who are also Nebula finalists this year, though in the novella category instead of the novel category. I don't know that it's going to be a 5-star. It'll probably be in the 4-star range. I can see it. I could see rereading it and catching more of it and then upping my rating. But as it is right now, I'm having a grand old time, which I'm so surprised by, because like I said, I thought for sure I would DNF that in this book, and here I am just chugging along. Is that how you say that? So yeah, I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow because it's like 300 pages and I'm on page 169. So depending on how focused I am with my reading, I could finish it tomorrow. Also, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I'm just reading one book at a time right now, which is wild to only be focusing on one book at a time. But it's working for me, so I'm trying not to think about it too hard or question it. I have 30 pages left, and I'm not bored, I don't think. I am tired of reading such a confusing book and of jumping around to all these different reincarnations. And maybe I should have saved this until like I've actually finished it, but I just want you to know, I don't think I'm bored. I think I'm just tired. Which maybe are the same thing, maybe not. I don't know. I'm gonna finish it because, again, I'm still interested. I'm just also tired. Okay, I finished. Applause, please. Thoughts are hard for this book. Okay. All right, get it together, Emily. You can do this. You can do this. All right. I think it is a 3.5 star for me, not the 4-star that I anticipated, for a couple of reasons. I think if you like books that are very like experimental in their nature, that this could be a fun read. I think there is overlap for people who like The Spear Cuts Through Water or Piranesi, N.K. Jemisin, like I said earlier, and maybe not Tamsin Muir. I think I take that one back. I think the nature of this type of storytelling or this story structure is that each section can pretty much stand on its own, and not in a choppy way, but more in that they feel like vignettes. And I think I had the impression from reading the flap on the synopsis that this would be more of like an epic love story between Annalise and Leverett, but it's not that kind of two souls bound together story. Like there was maybe one timeline where they were romantic, but then there are other ones where they were fairly antagonistic towards each other. And so it wasn't the like romantic epic, we will always find each other in every lifetime kind of story that I thought I was going to get, which was fine. I'm glad actually that it wasn't that kind of story, because I don't think I would have liked it very much if it had been. I think the great thing about the reincarnation aspect is that every time they are reborn into another existence, Vajra Chandrasekhara does something different with the narrative. Like he changes it up. He makes it different. He tries a different writing gimmick, I guess. Not to make it sound cheap, but like he tries something different and it makes it really interesting. And I think that's what kept me from getting bored, is because even if I was getting weary of the reincarnation we were in, I knew that soon it was going to switch and I would be somewhere else. And that would reinvigorate my interest. And some of it was funny. Like there was one section towards the last half where it was, I don't even remember what the life was, but a character was telling one of the reincarnated characters a story, and just the way the narrative changed, and it read more like a monologue of how somebody would tell you a story, but it was a little bit more vulgar and just stream of consciousness, and it was funny, and I really liked it. I don't necessarily know that I understand what I read or what the point was or what I was supposed to get out of this, but I'm not mad that I read it. So there's that, I guess. Now, circling back to the books and the authors that I comped this to, I would say the main difference between this and those other titles is I feel like in those other books, those authors do a really good job of having a cohesive storyline where you are really tied to the characters and invested in what is happening to them. And I didn't feel invested with Rakesfall. I think because of its confusing nature, I think because the main characters were changing so often, and sometimes it was a struggle to pick them out in the new section. And so that discombobulation, I think, took away from my personal reading experience. But I think if you just want something that, like an author that's doing something different and is playing with conventions and writing, I think that part is pretty cool. So I don't know. Take that for what you will. It's not a new favorite, but I'm not mad I read it, I think is the TLDR for Rakesfall. So what a surprise. And I will not be reading the Book of Love because I was bored in the page and a half that I read earlier. And I'm going to honor that first impression and just move on to Asunder, which I'm so excited about. And I'm going to be so sad if it's anything less than a 4.5 star. Like really, I need a book to be obsessed with, because I have yet, for this project, even though I have finished 2 of them, there have been times while reading both Rakesfall and Sleeping Worlds Have No Memory where I was painfully aware that I was reading, and I don't want that. I don't want that. And I was perfectly willing to pick them up, but I was not thinking about them when I wasn't reading them. And that is what I'm looking for, and that is what I am hoping Asunder gives me. So just wish me luck. I need I need a fun time now that I have like fully stepped out of my comfort zone and read more experimental books. I need a win. I need a win. So fingers crossed for me. Well, true to form for this vlog, I should have updated you 2 days ago. Whoopsies. And I'm not even at the place that my bookmark says I'm at because I was listening to the audiobook while I was at the gym. So I'm 64% of the way through it. I meant to update you at like 50%. But anyways, I am reading Asunder. And this had such a fun beginning. Our main character, Karis, is a death speaker. So not really a necromancer, just more like can communicate with the dead. And she's on this island in this ruin with this dude. And they're looking for something. And Karis is like not a fan of the entire situation. And they're going through looking for relics for someone else, like on a gathering. I don't know. They're on this island. I can't really remember what they're looking for. I don't think it matters for the plot of the book. They're in these ruins, and this construct comes out of the dark and basically peels off the guy's skin and absorbs the rest of him into its body to eat it. And Karis freaks out, runs away, ends up being surrounded by these constructs, ducks in to this alcove to hide, and ends up face to face with this man who was almost attacked by these constructs. His name is Farain, and he's dying. But he also has this device that allows them to appear invisible to the constructs. And Karis gets the super bright idea that he can use the device to anchor it. He can take the device, anchor it to her, and then she can be like a moving force field bubble situation to get him out of there. Only it goes sideways, and he ends up tethered to Karis permanently and like inside of her, kind of. It's a situation. He's basically like appears to be her shadow, but he's bound to her. And hijinks ensue from there. This is a hard book to talk about because there's a lot of stuff going on. Because we have what I feel like is the ultimate plot of trying to get Farain uncoupled from her. But there's all these other things going on. All these other, side quests going on. And it's funny because I really thought I was going to be, that this was going to be a 5-star. If I'd made 5-star predictions at the beginning of this video, this would have been my 5-star prediction. I was so excited. And I'm still, and it's funny because, I'm really liking it. I really like the story. Let me take that back. I really love the characters. Karis and Farain, their dynamic with each other is so good. And the way Kirsten Hall has made him feel real, even though he doesn't really have a physical form in the book because he's in Karis, but he feels so real and so well developed and so essential. And then there's been a couple of other side characters who have joined up with them as we're going, and I really like those two as well. I think the character work is really where this book shines, and the character interactions. And I would say my complaint is that there's not enough character interactions. I also think Asunder is one of those books where the world building is so fully realized, and this is an expansive, well thought out world that at the beginning I had this feeling of being on one of those moving walkways, at the airport, that's going just a hair too fast, and I'm craning my neck trying to see what the heck is in the world all around me because it's all so interesting. But we have a place where Kirsten Hall is taking us, and that's interesting, and I'm happy to go along. But I also just want to kind of like stop and look around and check out what's going on, and because there's so much to this world, and it's very, very cool and very interesting. And I have no idea if this is a part of a series or if this is just going to be a standalone, but I would 100% read more in this world if Kirsten Hall is going to write more. It doesn't say book one of such and such series anywhere, but I mean, I would be down. Like, if this ends on even the tiniest bit of a cliffhanger and there's going to be a book two, right now, even not being fully done, only being 60-ish% of the way in, I would be down for more. Now, here's my but to this update. I am not obsessed with this book the way I thought I would be. Once I pick it up, I am very happy to be reading it, and I'm having a good time, and I'm enjoying what's happening, but I don't miss it when I put it down. And there have even been times where I have to talk myself in to picking it up because maybe watching something on the TV sounds more appealing, or reading a different book sounds like something I would rather do. But when I pick it up, I'm happy to be there. I just don't feel a compelling push to be reading this book at all times, which is a bummer because I was really hoping that was going to be my feeling going into this book, and it's not. I think the highlight of this for me so far has really been Karis and Firain's relationship. I find their dynamic really great. I love Firain as a character, and I love Karis too. I think she could be one of those characters where you either really like her or you hate her because she is guarded, she's prickly, she's a little bit of a pain in the ass. But I really like it. She's also got a lot of walls up, so she doesn't let people in very easily. So the vulnerable moments she has with Firain or Wynola or there's another character, I can't remember how to pronounce her name because the way it's spelled and the way the narrator says it just doesn't quite click in my brain. Heiki? I can't remember which one it is. Anyways, just the moments where Karis lets down her guard and she's a little bit more vulnerable with the three of them, those moments are really great and they feel very earned. I just like seeing her form relationships with these people after having spent so much of her life being fairly solitary. So I'm digging it. I don't know how I feel about all the side quests though. Like, I feel like we're taking a real meandering path to get to where we need to be. But there's been a couple, I don't know if they'd be called plot twists, but there's been a couple of things that have happened that I didn't see coming or even know to anticipate that I've really loved. And one just happened where we kind of took a twist, a turn, and I'm digging it. And I'm really anxious to see how that particular thing is going to evolve and where we're going to go from there, and if that will end up reversing or if that is the trigger for the climactic action as we get to the end of the book. I have no idea, but I'm really eager to see where we go from there. I would say maybe the first half of this book was like a 3.5-star read, but it feels more now like it's pushing into 4 as more things start to happen and more reveals are made and we learn more about the two countries in this book, because there's a very in-depth political relationship between all these different countries, and Karis is from one but Firain is from another, and anyways, there's a lot of political intrigue stuff going on. I would definitely say that even though this does have like a questy element with them going on this journey to try to reverse their unintentional coupling, it does also have heavy political fantasy elements. And I really like a political fantasy, and I like a questy fantasy. You know, I love a road trip. I love an adventure. I love a band of people coming together to accomplish something, and we've got all those in here. So again, I really like it. I do not have the level of obsession that I thought I would have going into it. And I can't figure out why. I wonder if there was more dialogue, if I would be more into it, because there is a lot of description and there's a lot of narrative in between the dialogue. And yeah, now that I'm saying that out loud, I think if there was maybe more banter between the characters or more dialogue, I might be more obsessed. But I feel like I'm really living for those character interactions, and they're not coming quite as quickly or frequently as I would prefer. And yeah, something for me to think about. I'm going to think about that as I continue to read. But hopefully I'll be wrapping this up quickly. And then once I finish this vlog will be over. This will be great because it's really killing my reading this month, if I'm being honest. But I'm glad I saved this for the end. I definitely think that was the right path. If we're going by ending alone, it's like a 4.5 star. But I don't want to rate just based off the ending. We have to be objective. We have to think through it. We have to be logical. This ending though, this better be a series because that ending was a bitch in like the best way. But I'm going to be so mad if this is a standalone because there's no way we don't get more of a story. There's just no way. I'm trying to remember if Storygraph usually says if it's a series or not, and I can't remember. Yeah, Fantastic Fiction says this is a standalone. Okay. That might change it a little bit. If this is a standalone, I hate that ending. I hate that ending. Like, isn't that so funny? Like, if it's a series, I love that ending. I need book 2 in my hands now. If this is a standalone, I absolutely hate it, and I'm so mad. And I don't know which one it is. Like, I don't know which one to feel. Like, it could be a series, and a book 2 just isn't announced yet. But again, there's no like book 1 in the blah blah series. Oh my gosh. So I think I'm gonna split the difference, kind of. Math is not gonna be perfect. It's gonna be a wonky math. I think I'm gonna give it a 4.25. My enjoyment and my investment definitely increased as we went along. I think this world is so well developed. And it's so easy to picture. There is a lot of visual writing. So I think if you're a person who struggles with picturing imagery, that might be a challenge. I'm not great at picturing imagery. So when there's a lot of description about what things look like, it doesn't really matter to me because I can't really picture it anyways. So it is lost on me a little bit, I'm sad to say. I would still have like there to have been more dialogue in between these characters. I could have done with like less descriptive text and more interpersonal communication. But that being said, I mean, that's being super nitpicky. I had a really great time reading this when I picked it up. Like I said, that was only yesterday, but as I said, not a compulsive, oh, I really would need to pick it up. But when I picked it up, I did have a good time with it. To the point of when I was reading this morning, it was time for me to get ready for work when I had 30 minutes left of reading. And while I didn't want to put it down, it was not painful for me to put it down. And I wasn't thinking about it while I was at work. It's like out of sight, out of mind. But then when I got home, knowing I only had 30 minutes left, like I wanted to read it so I could find out what was going to happen because everyone was in a very precarious position when I had to put it down this morning. So I don't know what to do about that. Like, I don't know what to do about that ending. I really hope it's a series. I would read more from Karis. I really liked her the entire book. And I don't think she's a main character that is for everybody, but she was for me. She is the kind of main character I like to follow. I like a prickly, emotionally guarded woman who has forced herself into a very solitary life. Usually not by choice, but also kind of by choice, you know? Like, I love that. And then getting to watch her slowly let people in and let her guard down, oh, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. So yeah, all right, let me go grab the rest of these nebulas. Let's wrap this sucker up. So obviously I didn't read the Book of Love, so I can't really speak on this one. But if we're looking at the other 5 as a whole, I would say the thing I think all these books have in common is their sense of place is very well developed, very well thought out. All of these worlds feel fully realized. The authors knew exactly where their characters were, and I really love a book where the atmosphere, the place is fully developed and definitely not an afterthought. I would also say that maybe 4 of these stories are not fish out of water, but people who are in pretty precarious positions going on a journey to find a place, unintentionally perhaps, where they have a community and they have people who care about them and they have a support system. Now, which one do I think is award worthy / do I think any of these are award worthy? That's so hard to say. It's so hard to say. I think it depends on what the award is. And I think that's maybe where I struggle with the Nebula and the Hugo. Maybe less with the Hugo, knowing the Hugo is fan-based. And yes, it's pay to play, but it's a popularity contest. It's a certain subset of readers' favorite book of the previous year. Like, that's what the Hugos are. And the Nebulas, I'm less certain of what the purpose of that award is for. Is it for innovative science fiction and fantasy? Is it for authors who are a good hang? I'm not quite sure what the criteria is for the Nebula, so I struggle to figure out which one is the most, which one should win, because I'm not sure what the criteria is for that one. And maybe it's as simple as going on the website and the website will tell me, but obviously I haven't done that, so I don't know. And as far as my personal enjoyment goes, if we treat these like the Hugo, where I go based off of my favorite, obviously I didn't read the Book of Love, so that's going to go at the bottom. I think I would put Sleeping Worlds Have No Memory next, followed by Someone You Can Build a Nest In, and then Rakesfall, which that is still the surprise of the month for me. I can't believe I like that book as much as I did. Asunder, and then because I'm a basic bitch, Tiki and Fisher is still my favorite out of this selection of books. So there you go. Those are all my thoughts and feelings. I'm kind of afraid to see how long this video is because I feel like I yapped so much. If you have read any of these books, I would love to hear your thoughts about what you thought, which ones you liked, what you think the purpose of the Nebula is. If you've done better research than I have, I would love to hear it. If you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you were here, let's do a pink emoji for Rakesfall, since I ended up liking that way more than I thought I would. And otherwise, if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye!